Swami Kumar Pramani. Respected Dr. Satyabrata Chakraborty, the General Secretary of Asiatic Society, distinguished academicians, friends. I myself is a life member of Asiatic Society. It is very dear to my so. When I received such an invitation, really, I'm not such a famous person to deliver such lectures as you heard the name like Govinda Bhuvan Mukhopadhyay and other. Then I thought perhaps they have the affection for me that wanted to show some affection to its own members. So I accepted it. And about Bharat Sevasam Sangha, they serve people when they are in distress. I have high regards. So my pranam to Swami Pranabananda ji and the donors. I'm grateful to authorities of Asiatic Society for inviting me to deliver this lecture for 2022. I consider it is an opportunity to share some of my thoughts on interreligious understanding and dialogue, because my area of research is under interreligious understanding in Indian philosophy. I've been working in this area for long 35 years throughout the world. People know me for my logic of religious pluralism. I'm a strong advocate of pluralistic ideas in culture and religion. So I thought that India is a land of different religions, many religions, followers of many religions there. But truly speaking, we don't have much scope to know the details of other religions, the basics of other religions. And this ignorance is indirectly responsible for misuse of religion. So I have tried to see whether we can live together in India, especially if we go through Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Smritis. We see that is full of pluralistic ideas in practice. And Indian culture itself is pluralistic. Then what does it mean? I shall try to explore it from the point of view of philosophy of religion. Philosophy of religion is different from theology. It is an academic examination of the claims made by the theologians. So an atheist may be joined there. An atheist is also welcome in philosophy of religion. We all know that people have different considerations regarding matters concerning religion. Common and majority people uncritically believe that religious claims are true. To the common people, they are true. These are facts to them. But they believe it uncritically, just on hearsay. And their claim is based on mere speculations. But many free thinkers, their number very few, philosophers and scientists, raise doubt about this claim or simply find it false. The religious beliefs, what they are claiming, are either false or doubtful. To philosophers, to scientists, to free thinkers. See, 2,500 years ago, a teacher came to our country, Siddhartha Gautama, later on Buddha. He warns us about the fatal consequences of this uncritical belief. He said to his disciples, first 5 disciples, Pariksham mad vacho gracham bhikshave, no to gaurava. Examine critically before accepting what I say, and then either accept or reject it on rational or evidential grounds. Don't accept it. just out of sheer reverence to me. That was said by Buddha. He gave an analogy of Suvarna Pandita. What is this? Suvarna Pandita means goldsmith. Goldsmith, how he examines the genuineness of a piece of gold, he cut it, rub it, or he burns it in fire. So you also, before following anything, critically examine it, just like the methodology applied by Suvarna Pandita or goldsmith. However, very difficult things. Religion is a very difficult thing to speak of. Politicians find religion always beneficial, right from the ancient times till modern times, for achieving power. And they consider it as one of the most powerful means of retaining that power. No question of believing, but they are most practical people. They use it to get power and to retain power. We cannot ignore that religious factors are major actors in social, cultural, and political life today in many countries, including India. But the idea of removing all differences and making all people alike is neither compatible with human nature nor conducive to human progress. This has been proved historically. Once the Christians used to think that whole world should be only full of Christians when they had these powers. Then the Mohammedans, that if we convert each and everybody into Islam, the world will be peaceful and progressive. But this experiment in the history has miserably failed. Today we should neither try to club people of different cultures or religions with diverse sets of values under the same homogeneity, nor should we ignore their potential contributions to the common good. For peace and progress, though sustainable development, we are to cultivate values like cooperation and distributed justice, where knowledge must be constantly updated, enriched, and modernized. Human beings are to recreate the past with a sense of distancing nearness, as emphasized by the great existentialist philosophers Heidegger, and avoid orthodoxy, as emphasized by Swami Vivekananda. Why? Because orthodoxy allows no change and modification. The dignity of human life is to be upheld as an end in itself and not as a means. Therefore, the future of humanity cannot lie in returning to the past, as it is impossible to reverse the flow of time. Rather, it lies with moving ahead like a flowing river with various tributaries by connecting the freshness of the present materialistic achievements and the gift of science with our ancient moral and spiritual values. I shall explain what do I mean by spirituality. I don't mean religiosity. Understanding of the past only by the orthodox way is deadly for human race. Though we inherit the past, we must claim freedom from the bondage in the past, as emphasized by K.C. Bhattacharjee in his Swarajin Ideas in 1931. It is a fact that entire humanity has been facing the devastating problem arising out of communal riots and killing of human beings and destruction of human civilization on account of political misuse of institutional religion. Religious fundamentalists are growing stronger. The fundamentalists who are using religion do not believe in values like equality, tolerance, and diversity. On the contrary, they seek to organize social life on the strength of religious dogmas. The fundamentalists misuse politics and institutional religion as a means of capturing power. When politics overshadows or dominates our true spirituality in the domain of religion, we see a reign of terror everywhere. Neither the fundamentalists nor the power-mongering political institutions believe in the spirit of democracy, which is based on values like freedom and open-mindedness. True democratic culture rests on debate discussion, and dissent. The fundamentalists or the power mongering political institutions do not believe in true spirituality. A person is spiritual who is ready to sacrifice his own happiness for the sake of the happiness of others. The fundamentalists, the today incited by the politicians and the media, the increasing manifestation of violence, very often in the name of religion, as it were, has exceeded all limits. This is really one of the greatest dangers for mankind. Open war through military is a consequence of this attitude. So, an academic approach to religion is very important, which is very rare in India. There is no scope of reading religion as a subject in India. First, I will argue for religious pluralism and for interreligious understanding through dialogue, and then I will argue for the thesis that we should not allow any blind obedience to scriptures as emphasized by philosopher Krishna Chandra Bhattacharya. For peace and development, we are to be open-ended to welcome the development of science, philosophy, and culture, and liberate ourselves from one-sided dominance of the world creeds and dogmas. I shall try to relate it sometimes to India's context. Now the question arises, what are the preconditions of dialogue, and how does it work in the context of plurality of religion? How do philosophical reflections help today in understanding a religiously plural society? Can we deny that we are living in an interdependent world? No. Then, how to live peacefully with the fact of multiplicity of religions today? These are some of the important questions that everybody is concerned with in a pluralistic society. Then what is a dialogue? Is a dialogue, unlike a debate, works reflecting on understanding others' concern, creates an atmosphere of harmony and peace. It is the way to keep our communication active. Dialogue is primarily concerned with the desire for the heart of people, apparently having differences in view and faith for a meeting and sharing ground. Naturally, the attitude of disrespect and defeating is absent in dialogue. Interreligious dialogue requires a commitment to our personal ism that is strong enough to allow us to suspend belief and step beyond the ism to meet the is, what it is in fact. These are the prerequisites for a genuine dialogue. And as interreligious dialogue is primarily cooperative, constructive, and positive interaction among the faith people, it is imperative to admit the logic of religious religious pluralism. Humility, empathy, and recognition of common shareable grounds, in spite of admitting differences, are some of the conditions admitted for any meaningful dialogue. It is always imperative for interreligious understanding and peace in a multi-religious society that followers of each religion should have the opportunity to know the fundamentals of other religions. Plurality of religion would then be rendered as a thing of beauty on the basis of common shareable grounds in spite of differences. There is no question of dominance by any particular religion, and differences are to be overcome through constant discussions with mutual respect. We are to work for collective good, and we are to give up the belief that our faith is more genuine and true than that of others. We are to cultivate the belief today that my religion is only one among many religions. Why should we follow this pluralistic way of life? The answer is for the sake of distributive justice and goodness of all. And unless we admit the logic of pluralism and educate ourselves in pluralistic values, there is no hope of getting rid of dogmatism, communalism, fanaticism concerning religions, and interreligious conflicts that arise out of misusing religious sentiments as means in today's world. Terrorists who use religion do not believe in true spirituality and they are religiously exclusivist. An exclusivist is one who believes that his own religion is the only true religion and other religions are false. So for to convert the followers of other religion is something very glorious to them. It's a duty, religious duty to them. If you do not belong to that religion, the exclusivist thinks that he has the right to even kill you. Therefore, the message is that either convert or be killed. And they are the exclusivists. They are trained as blind believers of closed dogma. Blind faith in religious exclusivism is a necessary condition for cultivating aggressiveness, fundamentalism, and fanaticism. So all fanatics are exclusivists. And out exclusivist cannot join any dialogue. You can't extend any dialogue with an exclusivist, a fanatic, a fundamentalist. He is closed. His thinking is closed. On the contrary, philosophical approach of religious pluralism is a prerequisite for interreligious dialogue. It is to be noted here that if there is a determined fanatic community of the followers of any institutional religion who does not wish to participate, we will never have an interreligious dialogue. So the fanatics, you cannot start a dialogue. And among the followers of every religion, there are fanatics. They are more dangerous people than anybody else in the world. Pluralism presupposes others as having different alternative identity without any sense of exclusivity. I am different from you. It does not mean I am your enemy. I may be your friend. One-dimensional identity begets violence as very emphatically emphasized by Professor Amartya Sen recently. In the context of religious pluralism, in the context of religion, pluralism gives an individual an opportunity to travel spiritually towards the value world of another tradition which can enrich each other with a new insight and wisdom. A notion of universal religion founded on the ontological unity of humankind gives the logical foundations of interreligious dialogue. This notion of dialogue is based on the self as universal. Amidst the multiplicity of existent religion, seriously looking for a room for universal religion is important in present times world scenario. Historically speaking, who can deny today that religion is used to provoke bitterest denunciation? It is also true that religion can be used to inspire the noblest work of peace. What is that universal religion then? It is different from ethnic religion, where one's membership is determined by birth in a particular race or institutional religion. On the other hand, in case of universal religion, any person can have a choice for any religion by way of following any particular religion. It means that each religious tradition is representing only one among many possible approaches to the ultimate reality. Each religious tradition is only one among many expressions of religious experience, as emphasized by Joachim Watch. The great religious traditions have important lessons to learn from each other and much to share. This point has been emphasized by Swami Vivekananda in his written paper on Hinduism. Because each religion represents man's response to natural and social environment in a historical context, and as such, various religions are to be treated as varieties of responses to different natural environments. And no religion has the monopoly of holiness, purity, and charity. This point has been emphasized by Prince Muhammad Darashuko, the book published by Asiatic Society, Majma'ul Bayarin, Mingling of Two Versions. Actually, it's a textbook for MPhil students in Calcutta University. So he actually advocated this Darasuko. The practice of passive tolerance of others' faith is not enough for interreligious understanding, and obviously for initiating interreligious dialogue, unless various faiths admit their counterparts at par with their own, no mutual respect will generate. It is not just a fact of mere theoretical admission of difference or multiplicity of religion, but of what I say, and it's engagement, involvement, and participation. These three words are very important for interreligious dialogue. This model of religious pluralism, as I advocated, encourages us to cultivate values like power of self-criticism, self-determination, and imagination. It prepares a strong ground for the genuine form of dialogue. A dialogue is integrally concerned with the plurality of human existence in terms of identities, cultures, and religions, with different sets of moral values. In this pluralistic philosophic approach for understanding world religions, it is not only wrong, but also incompatible with truly religious spirit to accept one's own religion as the only true and to denounce religions other than one's own as being untrue. Even when we speak of unity in the context of religion, I do not mean uniformity. The unity is something which lies in common orientation to diversity and not in its abolition. Our, our thorough reading of India's cultural history will certainly enable us to decipher the cultural semiosis, to realize Wallace's open, free, and potentially creative pluralistic Indian mind. Each religious tradition contains within itself a special evolutionary pattern. This has been said by Swami Vivekananda. This means that religious traditions as a way of life is shaped by socio-cultural context. Our president is a professor of sociology. So sociological understanding of religion is very, very important, apart from philosophical understanding. And as such, the do's and do nots of each religion, when we consider, we have to admit the openness to the possibility of change and growth. If any religious way of living resists change, follows rigidity and exclusivity, and refuses to modify it through assimilation, I'm sorry to say, it becomes dangerous. Openness towards the possibility of change, modification, and growth has been emphasized even in the Rig Vedas. Let me quote a mantra: Anu Bhadra Krautavo Yantu Vishwataha. Let noble thoughts come to us from different directions. So this flexibility is there in the Vedas. Very seriously speaking, I find in my life very few people who has read Vedas. I prefer the Bhairav Prakashan is Bangla Anubad, very beautiful Anubads of Rig Vedas. So people, they speak on Vedas without reading the original text. This text is there. Adu Bhadra Kratu Yantu Vishwataha. So even this is the germinating points of research. Get something new, assimilate some new ideas with what you have existing, your idea. It has been reiterated by Vivekananda and many thinkers. Under this minimal condition, if you refuse to learn, what will happen? The problem lies with that they refuse to learn, refuse to assimilate. That is why I'm emphasizing on this. Unless it is, I call this minimal condition of openness and receptivity is fulfilled, no interreligious dialogue can be initiated, for the reason that interreligious dialogue must allow us to question and disagree with sincerity and respect. It surely does not stop with practice of tolerance of others. Many people say, yes, they are great people, I tolerate you. Toleration is a very, English word, has very little significance. I tolerate you, I'm great. I could punish you Because of my greatness, I did not punish you. This is the actual sense of tolerance. So tolerance is not enough. We must go beyond tolerance to accept others' religions as true as one's own. My view is not the final view, and I am open to admit new possibility of knowing that truth dominates cultural developments of India. The role of opposition is very important in philosophical dialogue and debate of India since the days of Rig Veda. There are two types of debates. One is called Panditavada, another is called Rajavada. So Rajavada is discarded in Indian traditions, always in a Purva Paksha. What your oppositions are saying is very important to Indian philosophers. So oppositions are considered as mirror. They are not your enemy. This is the cultural, the characteristics of the cultural democracy of India. The interpretation of religious experience is historically and culturally determined phenomenon, which differs from culture to culture in accordance with the prevalent concepts, symbols, and doctrines and modes of thinking that have gradually emerged within the sense of cultural surroundings. As cultural traditions are having, as cultural traditions are having diverse geographic and climatic and economic circumstances, so also in different forms of divine reality is worshipped in different parts of the world. This is expressed in the Rigvedic mantra. I am quoting Rigved again. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. The truth is one. Wise people describe it in different ways. But all these different interpretations as different ways convey that there is a genuine realization of the truth. Ekam sat. It is a fact that there is plurality of religion, but there is neither justification of conflict of one religion or one sect of religion with another sect for reducing all other religions to one's own, or for exclusion of other religions as untrue and not genuine. On the contrary, it defends the view that in all forms of religion, people are approaching the same ultimate divine reality, one truth in different names and forms. Our approach to the fact of plurality of religion may be taken as a ground for both commitment to truth and as a possibility for different interpretations about the same truth in order to suit the various socio-cultural and historical contexts. It contains enough scope for acceptance of plurality of religion in simultaneity, along with the rejection of any exclusivistic or inclusivistic claims, and for highlighting the commitment to truth. Another sense that people sometimes think that my religion is very inclusivistic. It's also philosophically not entertainable. Inclusivism means that your way of religious way is a subordinate to my way. And this idea was present because of the Christians. They said, throughout the world, people are also worshipping actually Christ in a different way, but this is inclusive to Christianity. So both inclusivism and exclusivism philosophically are not entertainable for today's world. It is only philosophically pluralism that is entertainable. And in a pluralistic world, we should initiate dialogue with each other among the followers of different religions. The world with uniformity of thought is a dead one. Unity in variety is the plan of the universe. This kind of religious pluralism indicates a direct experience of otherness, which is difficult to ignore in today's world. The survey of other religious traditions would improve the understanding of one's religion, own religion. I refer to 12 inscriptions of Samrat Ashok, Emperor Ashok. He said that they bear respect to each and every religion. not only to Buddhism. And there it is written in the inscription that if you pay respect to other way of life, other religious way of life, it will increase the better understanding of your own religion. In Ashoka's inscriptions, it is there 12. It, in the context of religion, provides us an opportunity for the study of other religions, not merely from the outside, but as it were from inside. Let me share some of my personal experience. When I was a state scholar, US state scholar on interreligious understanding, I had to live with different communities among the Muslims. I had to live with the Christians, Jews, and different denominations before presenting my thesis. So a lived experience is very important in life. It tells us to internalize our religious position by considering the context of other positions as our own, and it asks us to transform our approach from self-centeredness to truth-centeredness. In today's world context, it is a religiously pluralistic society. In a religiously pluralistic society, each religious tradition should make efforts to absorb the spirit of others while preserving its own uniqueness and individuality. Uniqueness will be richer by openness. As said, and let me quote here Swami Vivekananda: the Christian is not to become a Hindu or a Buddhist, not a Hindu or Buddhist to become a Christian, but each must assimilate the spirit of the others and yet preserve individuality and grow according to his law of growth, unquote. Since all religions are claimed to be pathways to God, they are equally valid. There is no question of superiority or inferiority among them. In the light of the pluralistic account of religion, the conflicting truth claims of different religions may be explained as a corollary or substantial corollary of substantial ignorance about other similar responses outside one's own religious tradition. As it is contained in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever be the way of worshipping, it will lead to God realization. This is chapter 4, slok number 11. This itself is an admission that faith aligned to the Indian mind are also bearers of divine light at par with our own. Again, the Gita also speaks of incarnations of the divine at every epoch, transcending the barriers of nations and particular religions and cultures. In other words, the scope of incarnation is universal or global, not restricted to one chosen race or religion. From this, it appears that for us, religious disagreement is due to narrow, selfish, dogmatic, and motive to accept nothing outside, to negate any existing view. Vivekananda has condemned the religious fanaticism, sectarianism, and bigotry in strong words. I'm again quoting him. Fanatics are very sincere. These fanatics, the most sincere of human beings, but they are quite as irresponsible as other lunatics in the world. This disease of fanaticism is one of the most dangerous of all diseases. All the wickedness of human nature is roused by it. Religious fanatics cannot recognize God if he appears before him with a dress unfamiliar to the description of his own religious scripture. But a lower animal, like a dog is better than in status than a lunatic. Can that dog never fails to recognize its master, even if he appears before him with an unusual dress? But a fanatic, suppose in his scriptures there is a description of God, and the God appears with a different dress, a fanatic cannot recognize it, but God, the dog can. This is the analogy actually given by Vivekananda. Is religion a true spirituality responsible for all the devilry present persecution of human beings? This is a question. And Vivekananda replied, no, it is politics and not religion as true spirituality. He says it is fault is lies with the politics in the name of religion. This is from Vivekananda's own writing, it is there. So a politician must be aware of speaking about Vivekananda. He is one of the strongest person in last 200 years in the world who advocated religious pluralism, I think more than 100 years ago, then Professor John Hick in 1990s in the West. This understanding of religion is unique about religious diversity. It is not necessary to impose one's viewpoint upon others. Here we understand religion as man's struggle to transcend his limitations, to find ultimate meaning in life, and to attain total freedom and everlasting fulfillment. Religion is what a man does with his solitary days. This interpretation, as I presented here, has also the implication of transcending various commonly known worldviews in the context of religion and culture. It strengthens the applications of the principle, live and let live. It does not regard the existence of other religions as hindrance to worldly progress and peace. This type of pluralistic understanding and dialogue indicates a new way in the history of humankind, religious life too. It would initiate, maybe slowly, a common spiritual journey on a deep spiritual level of our beinghood. We cannot deny that inquisitiveness, catholicity of mind, and the implicit conviction that truth has ulterior expressions in the form of alternative discourse. It is, however, indicative but not exhaustive. It is always imperative for interreligious understanding and peace in a multi-religious society that the followers of each religion should have the opportunity to know the fundamentals of other religions. Actually, Brahmos, they started with this. There is a book, Shloka Sangraha, small book. I think there is a book from Brahma. It's a very important book. But nowadays there is no scope of knowing what is there in the scriptures of other religions. This is the book Shloka Sangraha and Brahma Samaj, Novogita. All some portions of different scriptures of all religions are there in Bangla, English, Hindi, in original language. And here also, this Vivekananda's, just his speeches on religion from Ramakrishna Mission, it is there. So, see, if you read Masnavi, it is said, lamps are many, light is the same. So, in the Rig Veda, Ekam Sat Vipra Bhuda Bhavati. So, because why we develop in hatred? Because we do not know. The same thing is said there. Because it is our, what I understand, it is our ignorance about others that we are quarreling. There is a very beautiful story in Masnavi. If time permits, I shall conclude with this story. So, plurality of religion would be rendered as a thing of beauty on the basis of common shareable grounds, in spite of differences. In a multi-religious society, as of India, religious pluralism is not a hindrance to our worldly peace and progress and sustainable development. It depends upon us how do you utilize it. This allows us to question and express our disagreement with respect and sincerity. You know, the debate between Gandhi and Tagore, they have much respect towards each other. But I have never read such a critique of Gandhi as Tagore is. They differed, but their friendship does not affect their friendship. So this is actually the spirit of dialogue,
the pluralism. This way of learning is imperative and also a positive step to interreligious understanding of today's world. We need to utilize our power of knowledge in harmony for the service of humanity. A pluralistic understanding which entertains questions and which has the background of spiritual wisdom seems to be an earnest priority in present time. Any movement for peace will be confidence inspiring and influential if we can show some commonly shareable ground where there is no element of suspicion and fear. This pluralistic model of understanding of religious diversity through initiating dialogue indicates a new way of looking at the phenomenon of religion in the history of mankind. In fact, it implies the essential aspect of all religions, that is to say, spirituality, is not the business exclusively for any particular religion. The clear indication is that religious pluralism has made room for the people of other faiths. It deepens our understanding of others' view as good as alternative and equal to our view, because there is an essential aspect that is unity of all religions, and that is their belief in the absolute and the infinite existence. However, there is also the non-essential aspects of every religion for which each religion differs from each other. This attitude is guided by a practical plan which does not destroy the individuality of any man in religion, and at the same time shows him a point of union with all others. In other words, it does not mean that all religions of the world should fuse together to form an alliance. It is more like a garden, uddan, of different flowers. Each religion retains its own unique features while all of them together constitute one whole. একটা বাগান যখন ফুলের বাগান হয় বিভিন্ন ধরনের ফুল থাকে এবং আমরা বলি এটা ফুলের বাগান, এই ধরনের হচ্ছে প্লুরালিস্টিক আইডিয়া. This is another reason why we although recognize different sects of religion, but we condemn sectarianism. Vivekananda also condemns sectarianism. If you read Tantra, there it is said, we should not বলছে পরমতকে নিন্দে করা উচিত নয়. চৈতন্য অলসো সে সর্ব সমাজের সমস্ত পুণ্য হরিলেখ এক নিন্দা পাপ. This is also there in Vaishnavism. The concluding paragraph of his opening address by Vivekananda on September 11, 1893 at Chicago, the World Parliament of Religions, makes it crystal clear when he said, sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descent and fanaticism have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often with human blood, and destroyed civilizations and sent whole nations. Human society would be far more advanced than it is now. Unquote. Friends, war cannot be the solution of our problem today. We should resolve our problems by recognizing the value of freedom and cooperation. We need to speak not about others, but with others. Speak about others and speak with others. We have to speak with others. War is opposed. I consider all three virtues of human being: spirituality, freedom, and culture. In today's world, it is reasonable to recommend patience and interfaith understanding through dialogue. Our one-dimensional identity, such as Hindu or Muslim or Christian, creates a solitarist illusion which can be invoked for the purpose of dividing people into uniquely hardened categories. The denial of plurality, as well as rejection of choice in matters of identity, can produce an astonishing narrow and misdirected view. Great world traditions constitute different conceptions and perceptions of and responses to the real from within the different cultural ways of being human. It is historically true that peaceful coexistence of different views and religious ways of life is possible on the basis of the logic of alternation. Today, we are to look for a philosophy of active coexistence, and our fundamental attitudes that we are the possessors of light and others are graving in darkness will have to be abandoned. When religious exclusivism expresses itself aggressively in society, it takes the form of fundamentalism. The rise of fundamentalism in several religions and the adoption of extremist and terrorist tactics by some fundamentalist groups constitute the main threat to global peace, friendship, and prosperity in the present day world. The role of interreligious understanding through dialogue is significant when religion becomes a powerful force for disruption, division, and destruction. Only a fool can think of the exclusive survival of his own religion at the cost of destruction of the religions of others. The thesis that has been miserably failed as an experiment, be it either Christian or the Mohammedan. We need to acquire intellectual insights into the raison d'etre of other persuasions, which would help us to adopt an attitude of honest understanding towards members of other communities. This very attitude of pluralistic understanding of religion emphasizes on acceptance instead of confining to mere tolerance of other religions, assimilation instead of destruction, harmony and peace instead of dissension. Today, the choice before us between living together in peace or dying together in conflict. Let us free ourselves from dogmatism, fanaticism, sectarianism, intolerance, and terrorism associated with religion. Let us read Prince Muhammad Darashukoh, who has tried to show the essential points of agreement between Hinduism and Islam without exalting or undermining either. For Dara, truth is not the monopoly of any religion, but it can be found in all religions and at all times. Unfortunately, the spirit of interreligious dialogue and understanding, which started with the Vedas for societal harmony and peace, we see in the Vedas, in the Gitas, in the teachings of Buddha, Mahavira, medieval saints, and once initiated by Darashukoh, preached by Ramakrishna Vivekananda movement, has not been continued in our Indian subcontinent in letter and spirit. Perhaps because of politics, priestcraft, combined force. We cannot bring peace by money or force. Peace begins with not hurting others. Peace begins with honesty and trust. Peace begins with showing cooperation and respect. World peace begins with me. Let me stop here with John Keats, who loudly claimed, "Love is my religion. I could die for it."